If you could change anything in your life, what would it be? Perhaps many of you answered nothing at all, but what if I asked if you could change something about your body? That changes a bit, doesn't it? Call me superficial, but the truth is that in a completely utopian world, if people were completely happy and satisfied with their physique, there would be simply no aesthetic surgeries. And if we talk about body modifications and facial retouching, who better than the Kardashian Jenner to exemplify our point? However, on this particular occasion, we will focus our attention on Khloe, who after many operations now looks like a completely different person. So subscribe to the channel, activate the notifications, and stay tuned to take a tour of Khloe Kardashian's amazing transformation together. Before I go on, I want to clarify that I don't intend to make any kind of criticism or mockery of Mrs. Khloe Kardashian's metamorphosis, but simply an account of the obvious surgeries she has undergone to alter her image in an exorbitant way. That being said, let's move on because not only do we notice it, it's pretty obvious. In fact, Dr. Arash Moradzadeh, a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, recently stated that it has not been one, but several facial surgeries that Khloe has undergone over the years. No, really? In his opinion, it's very difficult to determine exactly how many there have been, but he believes that even if she wanted to have another one, not even quarantine would have been an obstacle to do so. And in an exclusive interview for Insider, the beauty and aesthetic doctor said that I'm pretty much sure that there's going to be some doctor out there for the right price that will do whatever someone wants. But we don't really know if she had her procedures done during the lockdowns. It could have been done anytime. It's always difficult, especially with that family, to tell what's real and what's filter. But before I tell you which photo he was referring to and what Khloe thinks about all the speculation surrounding her many surgeries, let's take a look at the changes she has undergone over the years. And yes, for that we have to go back to the time of her childhood years. In at least a couple of previous videos, we talked about those turbulent times that the famous sisters had to live through because of the supposedly busy life of the partying of Kris Jenner. And while we're on that subject, according to what is described in some secret diaries that Rob Kardashian himself allegedly wrote and that were published many years later, he related how before Christmas of 1989, his wife, still Kris, had left him with 4 children without even saying where she was going and without a telephone number to locate her. This of course not only affected his marriage, but also the 4 children they shared. And yes, it was poor Khloe who was affected the most. In fact, she herself revealed in her book, Strong Looks Better Naked, published in 2015, that she had been kind of an ugly duckling of the family, as she was never as thin as the rest of her sisters. Added to that was her insecurity caused by a supposedly negligent mother, and everything in turn made her an easy target for school bullies. However, the worst part of it was that not only her classmates made fun of her, but also her teachers. But there was one in particular that Khloe remembers perfectly. It turns out that according to what she wrote in her book, although she never told her directly that she was a bit chubby, Khloe was completely sure that the teacher's multiple hints were directed at her. As a form of a defense mechanism, Khloe developed a rebellious behavior. There was actually one occasion when she was just only 14 years old when Khloe stole the keys to her family car and ran off to see her boyfriend, who by the way was 4 years older than her. Years later, during an interview with The View, Khloe admitted that she had done that, and let's call it a prank, more to impress her then boyfriend with the rebellion than anything else. And that's precisely when Kris saw that things had gotten out of control, so she decided to hire some nannies. And it is particularly on one of them that we will focus our attention on. Her name is Pam Behan, a former Kardashian domestic worker, and a few years ago she published her book called Malibu Nanny: The True Adventures of the Former Kardashian Nanny. And in it she recounts, among other things, the not so decent treatment she received during the time she worked for them. However, one of the most revealing details Pam included was how the Kardashian children woke up in the middle of the night screaming in terror from nightmares they were having because of the lurid and macabre murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, a former family friend. And according to the former nanny's writing, they were precisely the poor Khloe and then little Robert who had those horrible dreams most often. So considering all of the above, it's not surprising that Khloe's self-esteem and self-confidence were at rock bottom in her younger years. And if we add to that criticism that rained down on her because of her looks when the famous family reality show opened in 2007, just when she was 23 years old, and her older sisters, especially Kim, were already more than known for their stunning bodies and their scandals, well, you can imagine how all of that ended up devastating her. However, 2013 arrived, and with it, the first significant changes in her image. It was that year that she was seen at a private event wearing a black dress with several pounds less. Although at first there were those who thought that perhaps the color of the dress favored her, the truth is that her weight loss was evident. For the following year, 2014, Khloe again left everyone astonished when she showed up to an event again, but now wearing one red dress and cleavage that stole the breath away from any of the gentlemen present. However, in addition to the obvious change of look in her hair, the size of her lips had increased considerably also. Already by 2015, the size reduction in Khloe was much more evident, and in that year she showed up at a red carpet wearing a short flowered dress, and yes, she decided to change her haircut look for that year as well. Although it seemed that at least by 2015, the scalpel had not passed over her face, but only the makeup was what made her eyes and her lips stand out. And Khloe's clothing size were still dropping when in 2016 she stole the show by wearing that memorable pink latex dress that eliminated any trace of doubt about her massive weight loss if there were still those who doubted it. So for that reason, by the following year, and we're talking 2017 here, there was no longer any talk of anything else around her other than her impressive transformation. 2018 arrived, and with it, a new stage in Khloe's life, that of motherhood. And the truth is that contrary to what many thought, especially her detractors, that with the pregnancy, Khloe's body would return to that of those years when it was rather thick, and it was not so. In fact, in the opinion of many, including mine truly, carrying little True Thompson in her womb did her quite good. After the birth of her daughter, she herself began to share everything about her exercise routines and healthy eating habits to regain enviable figure she had until just before the pregnancy. I'm still active, I still work out, but I'm not like I have to lose 50 pounds in 2 months or whatever those expectations are. It's very normal to lose weight at a slow process, so for me, that's how I lost my weight before and how it stayed off. I know that expression, the turtle wins the race, cause now I know, okay, let me lose it in a healthy way, so I keep it off. That was what Khloe told Us Weekly in September of 2018. And so finally came this chaotic and inclement 2020, and with it also a lot of new speculation about Khloe. And yes, obviously her physical appearance has also been the subject of gossip. In fact, on that subject, at the end of May, someone on Twitter came up with the idea of sharing some photos of Khloe's multiple physical changes, and in one of them, she looked like a completely different person. And it's precisely that last image we mentioned at the beginning that Dr. Morazadeh was talking about. After the photo went viral, many began to say that Khloe no longer even looked like herself, but there were also many who said that the image was not real and that it had been edited. But the surgeon just gave her the benefit of the doubt because, according to him, he had already met Kim Kardashian personally at an event and looked completely different from the photos she shares on her social networks, so it might be the same in Khloe's case. In his humble but expert opinion, at least from what can be seen in the images that Khloe shares in her Instagram accounts, and in particular the one that generated all the controversy, he could easily see that not long ago she would have undergone a rhinoplasty, a common known nose surgery, and in addition, she most likely also had some fat removed from her cheeks to make her cheekbones look much thinner and more stylish. And finally, according to the surgeon, her jaw would look this well-shaped thanks to most likely to filler injections. Despite speculation and much criticism from a lot of haters, Khloe is completely unconcerned, and according to what an allegedly anonymous source told Us Weekly, she is not worried because she knows she looks great. For her part, Khloe herself took the time to return sarcastic white glove slaps to those who criticized her, and one person wrote to her, "Why do you look so different in all your pictures?" To which Khloe replied, "Obviously, it's because of my weekly facial transplants." And look guys, always in our humble opinion, regardless of the posture of what each of us may have around cosmetic surgeries, it's your body and your face. Don't you agree? I mean, she can do whatever she wants. Please, tell me, what do you think? And in your opinion, how many surgeries do you think that Khloe has already had on her record? And please, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out all of our content. So see you guys next time.